FIB, open up! Hugo, you got some mansplaining to do, you motherfucker. Alright, first of all, I actually just ordered a laptop fan so that I don't have to worry about some bullshit in the future, and I can at least guarantee the beast mode machine a little bit longer lifespan, though I don't know how much for longer. Second of all, after having watched both G-Man Lives and Synthetic Man's review of Doom the Dank Gages, I can safely talk about the game, so let's just get right into it.
Oh, but you didn't play the game! You can't crap on the game without playing it! Oh!
What is The Last of Us 2 when that shit got leaked?
Oh, but I played the first one and I really liked it!
Right.
I think we all have a bias that we just don't like to admit, but I'll digress. I usually don't do this, but I actually have Synthetic Man's review, The Dark Age of Doom, which I'm sure I'm probably not the only one that came up with such bullshit. It's like the most easiest shit ever. I'm only going to be referencing the video while talking about this shit and actually pinpointing out two specific comments. First of all, the game has Denuvo on PC. There's no game on the disc for consoles. The fucking price point for a single-player game that doesn't even have map maker or a fucking horde mode or whatever the fuck. And it has forced ray tracing, which is apparently a problem for PC players, but they still like to claim PC master race. And number two, which I put in the Discord, not liking something doesn't make it slop or garbage or any other hyperbole time chamber people throw around. Most people can't understand when something is actual garbage and when something just isn't for them. The game objectively is not slop. Technically true, but misleading. The game sucks, and here's why. Now, I actually did watch a little bit of Shaun the Legend's live stream where he was playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, emulated, obviously, the Wii U version, which I guess makes sense because the Wii U was technically not as strong or demanding as the Switch in some capacity, I guess. And my god, this fucking game, is this really the fucking game that has put the Doom fandom in a fucking civil war? When I myself just don't care for any of the fucking modern Doom games for varying reasons that I feel are completely valid, but yet you fucking dense motherfuckers who want to cling onto the it's okay for Doom to have a fucking elaborate backstory and lore, even though the whole fucking appeal of Doom is that it didn't have either of those things, and John Carmack's quote was valid because of the fucking fact. This is what you want to fucking die on your hill for? A game that essentially has an overcorrection, as some people like to call it, but at the expense of what? Having a shield that you basically have to use or else you're not going to get far? Weapons that literally outclass each other, which is something that Sun and Bone does, a game that desperately tries to copy Doom Eternal, but has really shitty serious Sam elements and just other first-person mechanics that just don't need to fucking be there. Like, what the fuck? When a game like Sun and Bone is somehow more faithful to the Doom Eternal gameplay loop, then id Software themselves is fucking disgusting, dude. And let's not even get into the fact that there's the whole side modes of the game. Like, I mentioned this in the Discord, I'm sure someone's gonna fucking disagree with this because it's escape and play. Anything that he says is clearly in the wrong, but we'll listen to fucking Actman, even though he bitched about some incoherent bullshit as of late, but whatever. You have mech suits and fucking flying on dragons and shit, and even a fucking turret section in a Doom game. Remember that Duke Nukem Forever had those things, and people did not like it because it wasn't fucking Duke Nukem. And even if they wanted to add it just for the sake of variety, it was sure as shit implemented in the most annoying way as possible. Why couldn't the mech suits at least be like the thing in Titanfall where, you know, the thing that made Titanfall unique? As a matter of fact, even in the mech parts of the game, there's clearly parts where you're riding around in the mech and shooting shit. Why couldn't it be integrated into the main part of the fucking level rather than just being a shitty side mode, or side level, excuse me, where you're just fucking doing shit that doesn't have anything to do with fucking Doom? And do I need to compare fucking Turok Evolution to Doom the Dark Ages again? As such as the fact that you're fucking riding on a pterodactyl, oh I'm sorry, a demonic pterodactyl, but it's cool, so who fucking cares? This shit's fucking dumb, dude. Like, legitimately fucking dumb! Now, I will give Doom Dark Ages some credit, in that the level design, at least I've seen from both Synthetic Man and G-Man Lives, and that the level design is more consistent with the original games. It's not completely arena fucking combat slop that even something like Ratchet and Clank has been admittedly guilty of doing. Yeah, the old-ass Ratchet and Clank games that people love, yeah, those games have that bullshit too, and I hated it because of the fact. Doom 2016 and Eternal legitimately tainted my love to hate arena combat games in games that are not beat-em-ups. Or even something like Ratchet Deadlocked, where the combat is so short and isn't a fucking bore to play regardless of the fact. I would rather have a much more fleshed out combat system in arena-style combat than to have whatever fucking bastardization of a fusion dance that Doom 2016 and Eternal tries to do. They try to add ideas, but they just don't fucking work, okay? One of the things that makes Doom is the vast amount of weapons and how just surprisingly balanced each of them are in some capacity. Even if the pistol is considered the worst, you can still make challenge runs and just play the game with them despite the fact, okay? You're not forced to adhere to a playstyle unless that playstyle is dying, in which in that case you have to simply learn how to play the game or do better at it or just give up on it entirely because you're not going to get anywhere with your self-proclaimed Nuzlocke rules that you have to adhere to because Hugo Martin thinks that you have to play by his rules or else you're not going to get very far, which, ironically enough, Dark Souls and Demon Souls are fucking, maybe even Elden Ring to a point. I really don't know, nor do I care. You don't have to adhere to those fucking playstyles to actually play the game. Those games are loved because of the fact that you can pretty much play them however the fuck you want. Yes, you have preset builds to help you get going, but you can mold those builds into anything that you fucking want. And the fact that Doom Evolved games can't even understand that shit when it wants to try and be its own thing is just fucking retarded, dude. Why do they keep changing shit that doesn't even please people who like the fucking games? It makes no sense. I didn't like 2016 because the level design was fucking ass in almost every aspect of the fact. I hated the fact you couldn't manually save, and I'm pretty sure that's one of the complaints that G-Man Lives made. You couldn't manually save in the game, and yet people complained about Wolfenstein 2 for having too many cutscenes and wokeness, where the fuck that means. I still don't know what the fuck that means. I don't fucking care to know what the fuck it means, because it's fucking dumb. I feel like at least Wolfenstein can kind of get with the cutscene aspect because it's Wolfenstein. Okay, shitty argument, but even with the story of Wolfenstein that at least has a interesting alternate lifetime ordeal, and Doom can be the simplistic yet still enjoyable shooter that people can enjoy. Why do they have to focus on fucking something that essentially Dark Souls didn't even necessarily have you do unless you actually want to be good at the game or get the most out of your tools? Like, it makes no fucking sense to me. Every game has, like, required mandatory parrying systems now, and it makes no fucking sense. An idea that's essentially copied off of Demon Souls, because Demon Souls was clearly the first ever video game with a fucking parrying system, am I right? Even in those games, you don't necessarily have to parry. It helps, but it's not fucking necessary. Especially since you can get by perfectly fine playing the game legitimately however the fuck you want, as long as you know that there may be some specific gear that you have to get far enough into, or that it may be tied to randomly generated drops that are not guaranteed or whatever the fuck, or that it just may require more than just simply buying a DLC or inputting a cheat code to get the fucking thing. Like, there's so many fucking games that have this parrying crap, and it makes no sense. Even Spider-Man 2 had that to a point, but it wasn't this fucking ridiculous. And even both G-Man and Synthetic have mentioned that a lot of the later boss fights is just essentially nothing but fucking parrying, which is fucking ridiculous, especially since if we're gonna fucking be like the condiment tier of mayonnaise where everybody's comparing genres for no fucking reason. Even games like Neo 2, a game that I don't even want to fucking talk about that piece of shit. That game did not require parrying to this fucking extent. Yes, it would help, and yes, it helps to learn the skills so you don't die as much, but you can still go through the game without relying on it so much, whereas the forced playing style of parrying in a fucking Doom game just doesn't fucking work. Would it be more ideal for Doomslayer to utilize his rip and tear mechanics and actually describing the gameplay like with how Master Chief was explained in his books, where he's this superhuman god or whatever in a fucking suit that can just like punch things and shit? while having this shield like Captain America? No, because it's fucking lame and dumb, but anything that Hugo Martin does cannot be disputed, and if you do, you're just not a true gamer and should just be fucking crucified for daring to go against God himself. It's also funny these fucking defend Doom the Dark Ages, especially knowing the fact that Mick Gordon did not compose the music for this game. Now, I did not look up the soundtrack to this game because I just don't care to, but damn well knowing that this fucking game series is partially loved now because of Mick Gordon and the other games he worked on before the fact. He ain't no Hans Zimmer to me, but that's another story. People like his fucking work. Bethesda did not pay the dude and was abused by some other dude whose name I decided not to bother learning because he's a fucking asshole. And yet, after all that review bombing of Doom Eternal, they will still defend this, but claim not to be a fanboy, but will still defend the game that they claim that is peak Doom gaming, but is clearly not. You people are more unhinged than claim that I am, and it's fucking insane. Like, it is legitimately fucking insane. Even the fucking Cacodemon is just the fucking Octobrain from Duke Nukem, yet people go, oh wow, that's fucking cool. They evolved the fucking Cacodemon look, but then they look at Doom 3 and they're like, oh my god, this thing looks like a fucking meatball. What the fuck is id Software thinking, dude? I want to get into the whole fucking Doom 3 hater situation because as much as Jared the Gaming Dragon did an excellent video talking about the fact with the Doom 3 shotgun and how it actually makes sense in the context of Doom 3's combat loop, if we're calling it that now. Yeah, he basically shuns Time Splitters 2 because it's on console and still decrees Doom Eternal as the best shooter
of all time.
A game that actually, objectively, oh my god, you're using objectively, fuck you! Time Splitters 2, not even just Time Splitters 2, no. All the Time Splitters games combined, objectively, has more replay value than you can knock your socks off compared to the fucking content, if we're going by that, than the fucking Doom trilogy that's out now. Mapmaker, the challenge mode, the arcade league, the fucking story mode, in which even in the first game, it was just essentially go get item and then go back to a certain point, which is usually just a starting point. But it still gave you reason to keep playing besides experiencing an epic story about how Doomslayer became a badass for like the fucking third time now, even though Doom 64 with its Lost Levels crap, which would be fine if it didn't need to fucking shoehorn in Doom 2016. So, does this game take before Doom 64 or does it take place during Doom 64? And it's also hilarious too, speaking of story, besides the fact that Deborah Wilson is in the game, which I don't want to fucking talk about that because I have absolutely no room to speak on that or whatever. I know I'll break the rule for Elden Ring, but not for some black celebrity who just happens to be in everything now. It's like Troy Baker, but if at least Troy Baker is actually talented. Let's just go with that. People view it as the Doom 3 of modern Doom games, which is funny to me because last I checked, Doom 3 was still very much a Doom game. Even though it wasn't trying to be like the classics, it was doing its own thing, but its gameplay could still be enjoyed even if you didn't like the gameplay loop of Doom 1 or Doom 2, or even if you didn't care for the fast-paced combat, whatever the fuck. I don't even know anymore. This game is just... it's throwing me off for a loop now because of how fucking absurd it is. Like, this fucking game, like, it wants to innovate so fucking much. And partially of what Shaun the Legend said in his stream was correct, in that people will want the games to be the same, but then cry that it isn't innovative enough, or that the game is too different from the other games, and that it should stick to the winning formula, which is exactly how DSP views a lot of games, unironically enough. My problem with Doom the Dark Ages, and mainly all the Doom games, is that Doom 2016 wants to wear the mask of the classic Doom formula, but it doesn't fucking work if it tries to, as a matter of fact. Doom Eternal legit forces you to play the game in its own way, or else you're not going to get very far. The fact that people still want to act all fucking fanboy about it, it's just a skill issue. You gotta get good. You can play the game by its rules, you're just not playing it correctly. Yeah, anytime I see anyone defending Doom Eternal in that aspect, you're a fucking fanboy. You cannot be this fucking dense and defend such awful practices. And while Doom the Dark Ages kind of restricts the fact, since you can essentially get ammo a lot easier now, the game still forces you to use the fucking shield as if it's some fucking shitty Souls clone. Oh my god, you're comparing everything to Dark Souls. Well, your fucking precious condiment compares everything to Doom Eternal, and it's fucking retarded, okay? Let's actually check his channel as a matter of fact, because I want to see just how fucking ridiculous this fucking dude is.
Oh, I didn't want mail.
This is the fucking dude that basically went out of his way to defend the Marauder in Doom Eternal because people were complaining about the fact that they had to adhere to his specific playstyle or else you didn't get good at the game. And now, it's just back to the same old shit. Again, it's a fucking retarded cycle that's just awful, dude. Like, fucking awful. Like, the dude even made a video talking about Doom Eternal's punch or whatever. It's just fucking dumb. And then even the video beforehand, this fucking dude actually made a 10 things I hate about Doom Eternal. Kind of like with how... What the fuck is this goddamn name? The Democracy. He actually did a 10 things series about Doom Eternal, and I'm like, wow, Mayo actually locked the fuck on with his missile launcher and actually explained in actual fairly critical detail 10 things about Doom Eternal that is not fucking, you know, perfect until he got to the point where he tried to throw in a jokingly man about number 7 about how the game is like Mario because it's fucking fireballs and shit. It's just like, come the fuck on, dude. You are right at the fucking finish line and you fucking act like this way. Like, it's still a fucking valid complaint. Like, those fucking fireballs don't even look like it's part of fucking Doom. I almost had an ounce of respect for Mayo when he made that video. Like, it was almost perfect. But then he made that joke and it's like, he's still a fucking Doom fanboy and it fucking pissed me off. And I'm sure his other reviews or whatever, I'm sorry, they're not reviews, they're just overly game criticisms of games like Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, Devil May Cry 4. Everyone told me to play whatever the fuck game. Oh yeah, remember when he criticized Batman Arkham Knight? That was a fucking shit show, and I fucking love that game. Yeah, I know it has some fucking flaws in it, but your criticisms of Arkham Knight could very much be applied to fucking Doom Eternal, and yet you brush it off under the fucking rug.
There's a tidal wave of people coming at me saying I'm blind to the game's flaws, and that id Software needs to listen to criticism. So I'll clarify what I'm talking about, as I've had to do before. When I talk about Doom Eternal haters, I'm not talking about people who express issues with the game. There's plenty of legitimate issues one can levy at it. Buggy master levels and no ability to save, buggy aspects of the Marauder's AI, DLC enemies that funnel you into limited options like spirits, bloodmakers, and stone imps, poor implementation of the purple goo in level 2, too much platforming in Doom Hunter Base and certain platforming sections like UAC Atlantica where you're just waiting for a crate to move. Story elements like how the Betrayer was wasted and you wouldn't even know who he is without reading Doom 2016's lore pages, and how Samuel Hayden was changed and essentially became an exposition dump character. Invasion mode was promised and never delivered, a lot of people didn't care for battle mode and missed classic deathmatch, plenty preferred 2016's darker tone over Eternal's colorful arcadey feel. I get all of that, I agree with some of it. I may think Doom Eternal is the greatest first-person shooter ever made, but it doesn't mean I think it has zero flaws. If you're a fan of the game and you think it has flaws, I'm not talking about you. And if you're not a fan, but you can still recognize how well made it is, I'm not talking about you either. No, the haters I'm talking about are the hysterical people who think the game's design is terrible. People who think emphasized resource management was a bad direction to go in. People who posted images on Twitter of spinning fire poles and said it represented everything wrong with the game, and can't go one sentence without comparing it to Super Mario. People who think the game is trash. People who went out of their way to straight up lie about the game to support their awful opinions about it. People that think just because you have a flame belch that refills armor, that your playstyle creativity is somehow limited. People who moronically claim they are forced to target enemy weak points to kill them.
And the main complaint that these fucking people have, which is probably the last point, because I didn't really do a specific video about it because it was just so fucking retarded. The fucking difficulty sliders, dude. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, I understand what Synthetic Man said in his review about how sliders in those games is not meant to actually make the gameplay interesting, but just because fucking Hugo Martin and friends did not bother optimizing the game or even making the game optimized for combat. If you know, you know. I'm not completely against custom sliders in games. Yes, it would be nice if more games had it, but I'm not gonna fucking shit my pants and my fucking panties if it has it. But yet everyone and their fucking mother complained about it because, oh my god, Doom has custom sliders now, we're all fucked. I mean, Power World has it. I don't think anyone cares you're going to play Power World without playing the game as intended. Well, you can literally play the game however the fuck you want, but I guess that's another ordeal. I mean, the game's a fucking Ark Survival Evolved clone. Like, I don't think people fucking care about that. And what does Doom the Dark Ages have? It has difficulty sliders or whatever that would... No. I'm not going to bother arguing this. Because you want to know why? Because I just remembered something. People actually had criticisms of games that have quick saving in games like Doom, Doom 2, Duke Nukem 3D, or any game as a fucking quick save. These deranged motherfuckers who want to act like manual saving is just proof of laziness from game developers is on the same league as custom sliders in games that may or may not even need it. I know games like Sniper Elite 4 have it. I don't know if the newer one has it. I don't fucking care. I just prefer the open aesthetic of Sniper Elite 4 compared to its fucking condensed arenas, whatever, in Sniper Elite 3. Or even games like FIFA 2014 with its difficulty modifiers that makes the game more interesting. Or even games like Halo, funny enough, which most of the modifiers just make the game a lot harder, with only very few of them having actual modifiers to make the game in your favor, with... so fucking dumb. Of all the things to complain about Doom the Dark Ages, it's the fucking custom sliders, dude. It's not even the worst fucking problem with the game, but yet the music, oh, that gets a pass because it's still Doom and it sounds awesome, even though it's not Nick fucking Gordon. This fucking people who act like the game is saved or whatever. Like, even just fucking talking about it is giving me a fucking migraine and a headache. Group who claims to love Doom will play anything that's Doom related, but yet they can't just see that maybe the Precious Third game is just... it's just fucked. Like, you can maybe argue that Doom 3 back then was fucked, but it didn't fucking kill the series up to that point. At least I don't like to think it killed it. It still sold remotely well. It didn't overwrite Doom's existence or whatever. You can still play fucking Doom 1 and Doom 2 or Final Doom, or even Master Level's a piece of shit fucking expansion that requires Doom 2, and it's just essentially a bunch of shitty levels that requires Doom 2 to play. Oh my god, you actually don't know that Doom 3 actually killed the series, is why there wasn't an official installment until 2016, player. You need to get your fucking facts straight. Well, listen, I'm fucking retarded and acting like I'm trying to overwrite fucking history. Hell, even the console port of Doom 3, which is still impressive even if it's faulty to a point, a specific version of the game has Doom 1 and Doom 2, having a mostly viable way of playing Doom 1 and Doom 2 about all this fucking crap that every other fucking version, whether it be the shittiest port of all time, the Saturn version, or the officially approved Jaguar version, or the handheld ports on the Game Boy Advance, Doom 1 and Doom 2, or whatever the fuck, you got a mostly acceptable version of Doom 1 and Doom 2 to play, but even those are fucking faulty. It's like DSP and his autism about playing Super Turbo, except it's actually true with Doom. And it fucking sucks! Doom 3 did not kill the fucking series. It's the people who wanted Doom 3 to be like Doom 1 and Doom 2, that's what killed the fucking series in 2004. And not to mention Half-Life 2 was a thing, and even Halo 2 to an extent. So yeah, I think 2004 was a pretty big deal for shooters back then, even just games in general. But whatever. What the fuck do I know? I'm just a From Software hater because I don't play Elden Ring. I'm not gonna fucking derail this shit further than I've probably already done, because it ain't fucking worth it, son. Oh yeah, during my incoherent screaming, I forgot to mention one very important piece. Synthetic Man not only reviewed Doom 3, but he made a really shitty video comparing it to Dead Space. Someone did re-upload the video, and I'm gonna guess it's a very old Synthetic Man video because his voice is a lot more calmer back then. But his review, if you want to call it, is partially why this Doom 3 discourse is so fucking biased, because he compared a third-person shooter that's more alongside Resident Evil 4, even the developers basically admitted they took inspiration from Resident Evil 4, while also crapping on Doom 3 that came out prior, and even had some things, like the babies and shit, that were in Dead Space, but did not acknowledge the fact. I don't want to be Anna waifu tier loving for Synthetic Man, but that video is exactly why these so-called Doom 3 haters piss me off. I don't know if Synthetic Man has changed his viewpoints on Doom 3, but that type of video should show exactly the type of bullshit that these so-called Doom haters are on about. Now, back to my regularly scheduled complaining fest. And speaking of shooters, I know people have complained that Hugo Martin should have just done fucking Quake or Heretic or Hexen or whatever the fuck. You really think it's viable for Hugo Martin to bastardize Quake, Heretic, and Hexen in the way that he already bastardized Doom 3 times at this point? You really think it'd be viable for Hugo Martin, who works at id Software in name only now, to ruin an even more obscure first-person shooter series? You really think that'd be a better option for Hugo Martin to ruin a game series like Quake, Heretic, and Hexen? You really think that'd be a smart move? No. No, it's not. Actually make new games at least. Or if you're gonna stick to the old fucking formula, at least do what works, but actually make sure it's fucking fun at least. Or at least maybe go back to the fucking drawing board. I don't want to claim to be that part of person that Sean the Legend mentioned that people just aren't happy with anything, but even if I am a sworn hater of modern Doom because 2016 wants to wear the mask of classic Doom but fails at it, and Eternal wants to be this restrictive gameplay loop that nobody fucking likes unless you're a fucking masochist or you're fucking elitist, and Dark Ages is just an even worse overcorrection or whatever the fuck. Even if there's things there that have been fixed from 2016 or Eternal or fixed from either side, it's still not a proper dance, and I think two very credible reviewers have made it so. And no, I'm not watching Mayo's review. I'm not giving him a fucking view on his fucking opinions or whatever. I know one of his posts is essentially mess with the modifier settings, which is whatever, but I don't fucking care. If you like Doom Dark Ages, whatever. Just don't expect me to actually like your fucking game. I'm gonna be like DSP when he cried about people not him liking Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, except his narrative is just because he has a fucking strong-ass bias, where I am not biased in the same way people think that I am, or whatever the fuck. I just don't like shitty games. If I like a game and I'm enjoying it, it probably means I like the game. If there's things in the game that I don't like, it's just a criticism that at worst makes me want to stop playing it, or at best, something that is a minor inconvenience, but I could get used to it. Far Cry Primal anyone? Neo 2 anybody? I don't have much left to say about this. Don't ask me to play Doom or Dark Ages. It ain't worth it. And don't ask me to play Elden Ring either. I don't care if there's a complete edition out now. I don't play shit. Now let me go play Dead Rising 4. Well, if that's everything, see ya!